All right, my name's Jacob, and I've just been given the green light to come public with what I've been working on. And I'm very excited, also nervous for many reasons. But essentially, what I've been working on is attaining to a higher state of consciousness, which I've gotten glimpses of on about 12 separate occasions now. And it is the realization of Christ consciousness. What I mean by that is it existing in the same state of mind and being that Jesus, Yeshua, existed in. And it was described and talked about a lot in the Bible. Now, if you're tuning out immediately right now because I brought up Jesus and God and all that, I totally understand. I myself was agnostic after leaving the Church of Christianity, and now I've come to a deeper understanding of kind of what the Church has been trying to convey, and what Jesus was conveying while he was on earth. And more importantly, I have proof. I have an undeniable experience that I can show you how to experience for yourself, that I'll describe later. But man, yeah, I've been recording videos for the last about 3 years. Yeah, I haven't released any of my content, but I've reached the point where I'm finally ready to share, and it's mainly because my heart's finally in the right place about it. I'm not doing this for financial gain or notoriety, validation, or anything like that. I truly, genuinely just want to help humanity. And humanity is desperately looking for answers right now. And so I've kind of been existing in secret for quite a while, knowing that I knew the answer to a lot of the questions being posed, but that I didn't know the answers well enough to come public with the information. I myself was wrestling with whether or not it was true, or whether or not I was meant to share it even, or if I even existed in a state of consciousness that was capable of sharing this information. But like I said, just recently, I've been given the green light, and my heart is finally in a good place about it, and I'm ready to share. So I guess this is just my intro video, and I want to summarize just real quick what it is I'm going to be sharing. Essentially, what I've been exposed to or stumbled upon is that our emotional experience of reality is directly connected to our spiritual evolution, and that our spiritual evolution is guiding us to a place of blossoming or blooming or reaching a state of metamorphosis, where we discontinue with the old paradigm of understanding ourselves as fleshly bodies that decay and die, and we come into a new understanding, a new paradigm of existing and understanding that we don't have to die, that we're actually meant to exist forever in these bodies in a higher state of consciousness with a universal or overarching God consciousness. We're literally meant to surrender the old paradigm so that we can come to exist in a new paradigm in heaven with God, which is a universal kind of fatherly like consciousness that we're currently existing in a state of separation from. And that's becoming very, very obvious. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to describe what it means to exist in separation from God, from our divine consciousness, because we're experiencing it at a more and more intense level every day. The the boiling point is, I mean, we're reaching the boiling point soon, and yeah, I guess this is where it is. I mean, for some of us, it's going to be a magnificent triumph of our state of being, that we're going to realize the most beautiful truth of this place. We're going to have our final epiphany, our final emotional release and understanding about what all of this is. And we're going to surrender ourselves over completely to God. And we're going to step into the kingdom of heaven. It's been talked about for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, if you want to go back to the emerald tablets in ancient Egypt and stuff. But more on that later, I guess. But for others, it's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. It's going to be, they're not going to transition. And it's going to be I guess it's good news and bad news. I mean, the good news is this place is more magical than you can possibly imagine. The bad news is that not everybody's going to come to understand and realize that in this lifetime. So, yeah, that's a broad overview of what's currently happening. Yeah, I guess what I discovered was that I was seeing a counselor, brilliant man named Andrew, and he was essentially training me on the emotional system and putting me back in touch with my emotions. Shortly after, well, a few years after working with him, I stumbled upon a method by which I was able to access and clear through emotions at a very, very rapid pace. In counseling sessions, like, it was a good session if we'd clear through one emotion. And usually after you got one, they start rolling a little bit, so you get through a couple more. But maybe we'd have, like, I was seeing him weekly oftentimes, and we'd have maybe two out of 4 good sessions in a month. And with this new method I stumbled on, I was able to clear through an order of magnitude more emotions than I was with talk therapy. And my progress within the realm of emotions, and then my understanding of what emotions were and how deeply connected they were to our spiritual evolution, kind of just transformed me and exploded my understanding of what all of this is, where we're going. And then I became absolutely obsessed with this thought of clearing through my last emotion. Like, where was this going? How many emotions were there to process through? Because what I found was my emotions were tied to fears about this place that I didn't want to recognize, or I wasn't capable in that moment that the emotion was triggered. I wasn't capable of being with or recognizing or incorporating and integrating into my understanding of what all of this is and what's going on. And so I found when I went back and processed through those emotions, I was taken back to that moment in time when I cut myself off from seeing what was true about this place. And in doing that, I developed an ignorance and a delusion a safe, comfortable delusion that rather than seeing what was true, I kind of looked away to something that was comfortable, that fit within my current paradigm of what reality was, and that allowed me to stay comfortable, but also stay stuck and stay within an understanding of this place that wasn't accurate. And each time that I did that, I was in cutting, in like retracting back from the emotion, from the experience. I was essentially removing myself, creating a block, a distance between myself and what reality was. And what reality ultimately is God itself. All of this is God. And so when I was having an emotional attachment or judgment about my experience of this place, I was having an emotional attachment and judgment about God itself. And these are truths that I've come to by going back, and rather than looking away from that experience and from that emotion, I stumbled upon this process that brought me directly back to the emotion and gracefully, effortlessly allowed me to stay present with it and express it, allowed it to like fully move through my body, and then allowed me to look directly at the thing that I had been avoiding, the emotion, the thing that caused the emotion in me. I was able to finally look at, and I was finally able to see the truth that the fear had restricted me from. And so each time I did this, each time I confronted an emotion, each time I just surrendered to the emotion moving through me. It was fear, it was grief, it was sadness, it was anger, it was, I've confronted my fears of suicide, of killing myself. I've confronted the anger around almost every aspect of this place and how painful this place is. And I've gone back and I've looked directly at the anger, directly at the sadness, directly at the grief. And what I've continued to find on the other side was an epiphany, a mind-blowing epiphany that this whole place is love. That this whole place is a consciousness, a universal consciousness of pure and infinite love. And that what happens is when you experience a difficult emotion and you're not present, you're not able to be present with it in that moment, you not only retreat from reality, you also retreat within yourself, and you retreat from the present moment. And the present moment is when you can come back into harmony with the infinite present moment, you come into harmony with God there. God exists in the infinite present moment. And so each emotion that we experience cuts us off from the present moment, cuts us off from seeing what's the truth, and causes us to retreat into darkness and into delusion. And that's the state of humanity right now. We've never been given the chance to grieve. We've never had the tools or the time or the resources that we needed to grieve. And in existing in a state of grief, a perpetual state of anger, a perpetual state of sadness, we've continued to manifest and degrade, simultaneously evolving and simultaneously degrading into ourselves, into delusion and into fear. When we're not able to see the truth of love, we are retreating into the delusion of fear. And that's what's going on. That's that's the state of humanity that's causing our current way of existing with each other and with the world. And we're going to transcend that state. We're going to come to understand this truth, and we're going to assist each other into reconciling our grievances against each other and our judgments against this place. And we're going to move into a state of truth and love and harmony. And it's going to be more beautiful than you can possibly imagine. I'm feeling an emotion right now. I'm like processing, and I'm seeing the truth that I'm seeing a truth right now that it's not just that it's not just that we've been afraid of seeing that this place is suffering. It's equally true that we've been afraid of seeing how beautiful and how glorious and magnificent this is. Ziggy. Excuse me. We have two cats and they like to interrupt. They're very important, I think. Ziggy, what is it? Yeah. Ziggy. What is it, Ziggy? This is Ziggy. What is it? Yeah. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah. So, that's a pretty broad summary of everything I'm going to cover. Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I'll just leave it there for now. I'm going to let that process, and thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. I've got a lot more to share, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be the most beautiful.